Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Friday, August 6th. It's Friday. Sorry for those of you that have to work this weekend. Yay, Friday. And we have a new head of household. And we have potential targets. And I'm going to talk about all that. This may not be as detailed a talk as a lot of times, but a lot has gone on. And I went to bed decently early last night, and I've been rushing around this morning, so I haven't had as much of a chance to catch up as I would normally like to, but I have a feeling I can wrap up a summation fairly well of what the heck is going on. And we'll know better throughout the day. And I will try to touch in and keep bases, or touch bases and keep people up to date. I may record a CarCast at some point this afternoon or tonight. We'll see, depending on what I think and how important I think it is. So, hopefully some of you got to watch the endurance competition last night. A couple of comments on that. It was fairly clean as far as interruptions, even though some people were complaining that there was lots of interruptions. I guess some of us are numb to the 30-second or 1-minute interruptions every 5 or 10 minutes. That just happens during a competition like that now. They like to communicate with the house guests. There were things that we know they were being told, such as, no squatting, the house guests feel they were fairly restricted on how they could hold themselves, and that's one of the reasons that it doesn't last very long. In reality, the producers don't need a 12-hour competition. I guess they feel the benefit of putting a sign at the bottom that says, hour 12 isn't worth spending 12 hours to get there. So they're fine with having a hour and a half competition, which this was an hour and a half competition. It was over by 10:30 Big Brother time ish, somewhere in that area. I'm assuming you've all know what happened, saw it. The wall was, it's a leaning wall. They got rain. They got vomited on, puked on. They really got slimed because it was green by little hoses that were poised above the house guests that were supposed to be the mouths of passengers on this ship they were sitting on the side of. They house guests, by the way, said it was tasteless, whatever it was that they were getting dumped on with. They seem to hold up pretty well. I don't know. Do I want to talk about the competition? There's not much to talk about. It just was really hang in, and people dropped, and I don't even remember the particular order of dropping, other than I think it was, well, let's see if I can do it. Derek was first. He lasted until the feed started. Followed by Claire was next out. I think Claire has a very good game mind, but I don't think she's a physical threat. And she's horrible in the diagrams. But I'm still kind of rooting for her. Claire was out, and then Sarah Beth apparently went almost immediately followed by Hannah. At least if you asked Hannah, the order was Sarah Beth, then Hannah. Then I start to get blurry. I think Brittany, and then Azah, or Kylan somewhere in there, and then Xavier, and then nope, not Xavier. Tiffany fell, then Alyssa fell, and so it was down to Derek and Xavier, and Xavier basically jumped down with the promise from Derek that he was safe. So, Derek has had a household, and we thought all along. I thought so. So once the competition got over with Derek being head of household, it ended up at fairly quickly that you had Derek and Hannah in the storage room, and they did the proverbial, is that actually a way to say that? I'm not sure, but they did the usual jump up and down dancing thing. Hannah even said, we have to do this for the show. I think she may have said for the show, but she said, we have to do this. Like, this is required. It's a thing we do. So they jumped up and down and danced. They were excited. And then who joined them? I can't even tell you the list. I tweeted it as it happened. I think Kylan came in, and basically they were like, we're safe, you're safe, we've all made jury. And then other people started coming in. And by the end, the only people that had not come into that storage room, and in essence Kyle hadn't said, you're safe, was Brittany, Sarah Beth, and Christian. He pretty much told every other person that came in there, you're safe. So that kind of set things up. Now, I thought it meant for sure that he'd put up Brittany and Sarah Beth and try to backdoor Christian, because that's what he talked about with Tiffany. And he spent a lot of time overnight talking with Tiffany, like a lot of time talking with Tiffany. And so I'm not surprised, although I am kind of surprised that Tiffany seems to be not as worried about Sarah Beth as she is about Christian. But Tiffany also has said time and time again that I've heard that she won't get rid of Christian, but if somebody else does, she's okay with it. She's like, it's almost like I look at Christian like my son. I can't kill my son, but if somebody else does it, it's okay. So she seemed to be laying the groundwork with Derek to backdoor Christian, and Derek seems totally fine to do it. And so that could be an interesting power of veto meeting once we get to it. But we're 3 days away from that. We got to get through nominations first. And power of veto. That's very important. Power of veto. Because I suspect that Christian is going to be a bit paranoid. The other thing to think about is, I know Alyssa was not happy about Derek. So when it was down to Alyssa and Derek and Xavier was all the way at one end of the ship, the wall. And Alyssa and Derek were basically next to each other for the most part. So they were doing a little bit of chatting and talking. I did not catch all of it. And I didn't go back to try to catch it either. I got the gist of it. They seem to be, we're good with each other kind of a thing. And of course, some of that's gamesmanship, but at the same time, they were talking about it. And I gather that Alyssa was only concerned about herself. Alyssa never said, I want Christian to be safe too. And so Derek didn't promise Alyssa that Christian would be safe. And in the same way, I guess Alyssa didn't think Derek would, mention Hannah, but Derek was very much, Hannah and I are safe, right? To Alyssa. And Alyssa apparently is kind of bothered. Why is Derek so fired up to keep Hannah safe? And it's like, okay, well, because he is. But that's Alyssa's game. I said it back before Alyssa and Christian were a thing, when Frenchie went after Alyssa, that she took it really well. She seemed very, very analytical, unemotional. So I think Alyssa is expecting the same out of Derek and is disappointed. I think people aren't giving. I think, and we included, may have put a little bit too much stock in this Alyssa Christian showmance. I don't think Alyssa is nearly as tied to Christian as people may think, including myself. So it's not going to matter this week because I think Alyssa's safe. Well, Derek promised Alyssa she wasn't seeing the block. But even if Derek goes after Christian, I don't think Alyssa's going to break down and cry. Well, she may cry, but it's not going to be an emotional, oh, they're taking away my boyfriend. It's going to be more, shit, my game's in trouble because that's my main, my ride or die. That's my main alliance, and I'm losing it now. So it'll be interesting to see if and when it comes to that. What else? I don't know. There was a point where that I tweeted where Derek Frazier was talking to Hannah and basically said, "This is your head of household. You got to protect us," meaning the cookout. So I don't know if that'll make the show, but it definitely is an interesting implication of you're closest to Derek. You need to make sure Derek doesn't go after anyone from the cookout. So, I thought that, as I said, I tweeted last night that I thought that it was very possible that Derek would nominate Sarah Beth and Brittany and then try to backdoor Christian, which to me that would make the most sense because I really thought Sarah Beth would be the main target going in, the apparent main target going into the Power Veto. But it sounds like now this will change today. We got a whole day of talking to go on. A lot is going to go on today, and you're going to see a lot of things if you're watching your Twitter timeline. A lot of conversations. Just understand, again, you have to know who's doing the talking, who are the people involved, and is what's being said for the benefit of the people in the room or the people not in the room to kind of read the tea leaves and not assume that everything being said is actually completely factual. Because, when Derek is talking to Derek, he may say things that he doesn't really intend, doesn't mean and doesn't intend, but he's going to say them because it's part of the game. But people will tweet out the things that were said, and you may take it out of context, or it may be taken out of context by people go, oh my gosh, Derek X is flipping on the house and going with Derek Frazier. Well, no, he's not. But he's going to tell Derek Frazier what he thinks Derek Frazier wants to hear in order to further his own personal gain. So that is all going to go on today. It's going to be very confusing, and it's one of the reasons that I kind of like to, as I said the other day, step back, blur my eyes a little bit, and try to get an overall sense of what the heck is really going on. And my take right now is that today will be a feeling everybody out, Derek trying to figure out who the heck he is going to nominate at the end of the day today, and reassure both those people that they're not the target, even though one of them will be the standby target in case he can't get Christian up. And one of those people that I hadn't really thought would be a possibility, but now it sounds like it may be, is Azah. It's very possible that Derek is going to put up Brittany and Azah. And I feel like I'm forcing to say her name that way now. I'm not even sure I'm doing it quite right, but because I was saying I think Azah before. So that's a possibility that she might be one of the people going up as a pawn, and I looked like she even said that she'd be willing to go up as a pawn because she trusts Derek. So, with that in mind, that could be possible nominations. I would say that she should be safe. That the only way that she wouldn't be safe would be for Christian to win the Power Veto and save Brittany. And then Derek would have to put somebody else up. But I really think that Christian's boot order is Christian, then Brittany, and then someone else. Well, or Sarah Beth. Yeah, so see, but if he doesn't put up Sarah Beth, that's my point. Sarah Beth could go up, I guess. If Azah was up and Brittany was up and Azah and Brittany came down, he could throw up Sarah Beth too. So there's a few options. I don't think Azah is a target of Derek X's at all. And then the cookout would have to vote out Azah, and they're not going to do that. As we talked about yesterday, they've got the numbers. They've got Derek X in the head of household. Unless Derek puts up 2 members of the cookout, they're fine. The because they have 5 votes. We have 12 House guests. We have 9 votes. Yes, we have 9 votes today. We have 9 votes on Thursday. And as long as there aren't 2 cookout members nominated, you'll have 5 votes, 5 cookout votes. So they can decide who goes. Cookout is in the driver's seat. And as long as Derek doesn't nominate 2 of them, they're in the driver's seat. And there's no way Derek is putting up 2 members of the Cookout Alliance. It's just not happening. So, yeah, the Cookout Alliance is determining who goes home. Even if, other than Derek is the one that gives them the options. Derek will present them with the menu, and they will choose from the menu. So the only role that Derek has here is that he gets to set the menu. All right, enough of that. I'm starting to talk in circles. Have-nots were decided last night. I went to bed thinking it is Xavier and Christian and Alyssa. I think that's still the case. I believe they volunteered. I'm not even 100% sure, though, because they blocked the feeds while that was decided. Because, we don't need to see that process, even though they don't show that process. And you've all heard me do this song and dance already, so I will move along. But it sounds like there was only 3 have-nots this week. Confirmed or not, I don't know. I haven't checked this morning to see, but that's what it felt like. And really it plays a part in what food they get to eat, but sleeping arrangements are more of the reason that it's a bit of a, difficulty. But there's only 3 people sleeping in the have-not room this week, which they were happy about. And again, we'll see if that's the case at some point today. Hopefully I'll mention it this weekend when I catch up and see if that's how have-nots washed out or came out. All right, I have reached the point where I'm kind of thinking about what am I going to talk about next, and you're hearing silence or dead air. So let me wrap this up. Special shout out to Nurse Magooey, who I don't even know is listening to this, but she found me last night on Twitch. She had been a regular Periscope person, and I don't think I'd seen her on Twitch or YouTube Live, and she popped in last night, so it was good to see her name show up in the chat. Thank you to everybody else who has been hanging out with me on Twitch in the afternoon/evenings when I've done it. I've done several this week, maybe 2 or 3 this week. I did try using what's called Streamlabs to do my broadcast to multiple platforms, and the damn thing didn't start. And so I got frustrated. I need to try that again. I need to get it working. Otherwise, I need to cancel that because it's costing me $20 a month. And if it's not going to work on my phone, then I don't want it. So there is that. But yes, thank you to those of you that are supporters, patrons. Appreciate it. And I saw that Bessie, who is a newer patron, said that she missed the Periscopes, and I definitely missed the Periscope format. At least it for me, it was awesome. It was great. I guess it wasn't a moneymaker for Twitter. I don't know. I guess Twitch probably replaced it for a lot of people. But for mobile streaming, Periscope was better than Twitch, in my humble opinion. Periscope had the mobile part down really well, but I'm guessing the majority of people that were using Periscope were not doing mobile, so yeah, that's how that works. Anything else, Mike? I don't think so. Not for the day, not for at least this morning. It's, again, going to be a very busy day. The wild card comp is gone. The teams are gone. I guess Tiffany kind of outed the Royal Flush Alliance to Hannah. She got word of it. And it was Tiffany that did it, but Tiffany didn't even realize she did it. Because as I retweeted someone this morning, Tiffany said to Hannah, either when did Derek X tell you about the Royal Flush Alliance, or who told you? And Hannah basically said, you told me. You kept saying the Royal Flush. So Tiffany was like, oops, I screwed up. All right. That's points against Tiffany, by the way. In Tiffany's bid to make my, top players of all time, that's points against Tiffany. If she screwed up like that and outed an alliance, whether it was a real alliance or not, and it was kind of a real alliance. It was not a fake alliance. Everybody in that alliance was protecting each other, even if it was only for a week. Because I think Derek said it wasn't a real alliance. Somebody said it wasn't a real alliance. Like, oh no, that was kind of a real alliance. We were signing on to that one. We weren't signing on to the mafia or the radicals, but we were signing on to the Royal Flush. So, anyways, that's what's up. I'm arriving at work, so you guys have a good day, and we will talk to you tomorrow or later today, depending on how things go. All right? See you guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.